Okay. All right. Well, welcome everybody to my podcast. My podcast is still nameless at this point. I need to think of something. But I have a special guest, Carolina Allen, here with me today, and we are going to talk about everything real estate. Carolina is a fellow Sub 2 student and a friend and mentor, and she's also in Oregon. So I'm going to let her take it away. And I guess just if you could introduce yourself and give us an overview of your real estate journey.
Amazing. Well, thank you for having me, Alyssa. Always good to see you. I love another Oregonian, another female doing the business. So yes, I am a Sub 2 student as well. Joined Sub 2 March of 2021 and eventually became the Oregon regional leader over time. I swear when we first started Sub 2, there was maybe 2,000 students and it has just blown up. I think the last time I looked at it, it says like 11,000 members.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
grown quite a bit. It's been amazing. So for me, I am a little bit of an introvert, and I guess the avatar is integrator. My husband's more the visionary. We're a husband-wife team, and I've kind of taken on the role of closer. I don't know why I don't like that label that much because to me, it's never really been about the homes and the properties. It's been more about just helping. I've always just had a heart for helping. So I've really enjoyed that piece of it. And over time, we've done wholesale deals in about 10 different states so far virtually, and then a few deals here in our backyard. And currently we with our partners own 24 doors. So
Awesome.
always looking for more.
Yeah, Carolina is awesome. She hosts local meetups here in Oregon and is just so kind and welcoming. And always, as she says, she's just willing to lend a hand and has hopped on the phone with me countless times. And, like, I think I have a lead or I think I have a deal. Can you help me? And so she's great. And one thing you mentioned to you being the leader, I mean, can you tell me a little bit about that? What does that mean being an Oregon or Pacific Northwest leader in Sub 2?
Gosh, for me, I think it's just like the mama bear just comes out naturally. I always want to help people. I totally remember because, we've only been doing this since 2019. It's not that I've been doing it for decades, it's just been a few years, but I absolutely remember that feeling of starting this journey and how incredibly scary and intimidating it can be. And so I think it's just, I see that in other people. And for me, I just want to have a way of helping them if I can help their journey even just a little bit, a quick phone call to have you not get into a deal that's going to cause you headaches. I absolutely would prefer that, and I'm always open to squatting up and helping people get their first or next deal done. So that's pretty much why I think just being the leader out here has been a really good fit. And even though I don't always enjoy being in the spotlight, it has helped me personally grow a little bit more because I'm getting a little more comfortable with being uncomfortable, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. So,
yeah,
yeah.
for sure. I love that. So you mentioned that you started in 2019. Like, how did you get started in the world of real estate?
Oh, wow. So, I get asked that a lot, probably because, if you look at the real estate world, it's very male dominated. I think that's probably one of the reasons I get asked. Um, But for me, honestly, it was one of those situations where I was actually a stay-at-home mom. We have 3 children, and my husband, and I will say he dragged me to a 3-day seminar because I really had no desire to go to this thing. He had behind the scenes, without really telling me up front, been reading all of these real estate, books and attending, Bigger Pockets podcasts. And I think what was it, the Rich Dad Poor Dad was the book that really like got to him. Um, so we went to a 3-day seminar. I will not say the name of the mentorship because I don't really want to encourage people to sign up. I didn't we got some value from it, but really the value that we got was in the Sub 2 community. That's kind of where it's propelled, really. But this particular 3-day seminar, I mean, he dragged me to it. I'm sitting there with my arms crossed the whole time, like, why the heck am I here? Like, this is crazy. They're gonna try, I'm thinking timeshare. They're gonna try to sell us something, and of course, at the end. as I'm listening, I'm just like, oh my gosh, we are not ready for retirement. We're not ready for our kids who are now, they're older, they're in high school, they're going to be going to college soon. We're not ready for when our parents are going to need our help. I would love to be able to give back to them, at some point as well. So all these things, going back to, oh my gosh, we got to do something, like something's got to give. So we signed up for that mentorship. uh, it was crazy expensive. And I think having that bill, that tab, like, oh my gosh, we just dumped all this money into this mentorship. I gotta get that money back. That was my fire. It's like, I gotta at least recoup that money. There's no way we spent that much money. And I'm talking like 40,000. It wasn't like a little tiny piece of
Yeah.
that was a lot of chump change. So that was my fire. And I think being an integrator, like we are very task driven, right? So if you give us things that we need to do, we will get it done. I wasn't seeing much progress, unfortunately, with what we were being taught there. The one thing about that particular mentorship is they didn't show me, remember, I'm a stay at home mom, I have zero sales experience. They didn't show me how to have a conversation with a homeowner. They didn't really like give us examples of what it sounds like when you talk to a motivated homeowner. So I did do a few deals. Thankfully, Stephen, my husband, he found Jerry Norton on YouTube. So I
Okay.
will give props to Jerry for all his amazing content. I didn't sign up for his mentorship, but his content, I was listening to his recordings on how he would talk to agents or to homeowners. And I started literally copying what he said, making it my own over time. But now I know what I need to say. I know the questions and what the conversation should sound like. So finally, mentorship number two was a quick little 6-month mentorship. We dumped another $5,000. I'm like, okay, it's COVID. We need to do something. Like, we had gotten some sort of kicker check at the time. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember back in 2020. We got to, I'm like, okay, this must be this is extra cash. Either we dump it into this mentorship number two, which sounds really great because they're going to now teach us how to do virtual wholesaling, because this whole time I'm looking in Oregon, not really getting anywhere. And so this mentorship showed us how to do Facebook marketing and go into Facebook groups. That type of marketing since then has been crazy saturated, but yay, it got us our very first deal out in Washington, a property I had never walked myself. Virtually, we got it under contract, and thanks to mentorship number one, I had a massive network of buyers. I could just click in there, see who's in Washington, connected with another student out there, and got my very first assignment, $10,000. And
Awesome.
yes, proof of concept, this is
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Proof of concept is huge. I know even for me, is like that's been a big one is I have all these people cheering me on, but they're like, okay, well, where's the progress, And it's like people that aren't in this world don't realize it's not an instant thing. You got to put in the work and the consistency, and then,
Yep.
at some point, yeah, things start to happen. So that's
It will happen.
awesome.
Yep.
Well, tell me, I'm pivoting a little bit, but you mentioned a couple other mentorships that you've done, and I know for me, I have loved Sub 2 and met tons of friends. And so tell me a little bit about like Sub 2 and how that's been different, and just, like how things have changed since joining.
Oh my gosh, it's been incredible. I mean, I always tell people my only regret is not joining sooner. So, for us, when we first started, so March 21, I kind of set a because the mentorship number one, we had a couple friends that were in sub two. Hey, Carolina, Stephen, you guys need to come to sub two. It's amazing. And I'm so goal oriented. I basically said, okay, my next deal that I have, my next contract, I'm going to, use those funds to pay for sub two. When I get that going, so it was almost like a reward for myself.
Yeah.
So we finally get another property under contract, we sell it, and then, or sign it, I should say, and then join sub two. So March 21, and just like you, I'm sure, like we are just flooded with information, but this was amazing. Like it was so much more than I had gotten from the other two mentorships. And then the thing that was very unique is the collaboration aspect, right? Like the other two mentorships, it was very like, here's your videos, watch it, this is what you do. And every so often they'd have like a live or, some sort of function that you would pay to travel to go to or something. But this one, sub two, it's let's make friends, let's do deals together, let's work together. And it was such a different environment and feel. It almost seemed fake at first, right? It's like, is this too good to be true? Like, what's going on? But the more I started talking to people, like this was the real thing. And then on top of it, like the daily dial, like I said, I had no sales experience. I was just amazed. I want to say for the first year and a half, just about the first year and a half, I was consistently going to that daily dial, 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock if it's daylight savings. I was in there for 2 hours and I was active, engaged, taking notes. I mean, I was there to learn and get all the tricks and tips and right questions to ask and say when I'm doing deals because I wanted to master that craft. So yeah, just went in there with a purpose to fully absorb what I could.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love what you talked about like the community and squatting up and working together, I come from a background and people that the who I kind of learned from, and they have done everything that they've done just on their own. And so that was kind of my mindset to begin with. And then joining Sub 2, it's like, wow, you can really do so much more if you squad up with other people. And so, I have loved that and encourage people to do that. It's just, find a team or find a deal and find someone with more experience that will help you and work together because I mean a lot I mean I would argue you can't make much money with by your you have to have other people with you
Yes.
and there's so much collaboration in Sub 2, and I love that, and so many people such as yourself willing to help those of us, that have come after you, so yeah, that's awesome, I love that. Well, so moving on, let's talk about I just tell me about maybe, like, an obstacle that you've faced in your time in real estate or Sub 2, like a setback, that you've encountered and how you overcame it.
Yeah, I think a really big one for me. I mean, and we've had conversations on the sidelines that, the camera is not my most comfortable space, right? But I think for me, I push myself because I know what I need to do and I know it's something Pace is amazing about pushing us to get better. And for me, just putting myself out there and marketing myself and telling people what I'm doing, that was incredibly hard. I mean, it's still there's moments, I'm not gonna lie, there's still moments that it's still kind of hard. But at the beginning, I feel like I just remember in the back of my mind, I've always just been a giver. I love helping. It's never been an issue. I've always had that go-giving, mentality, but marketing myself, right? And telling people what it is I want and need just didn't really come as natural. It almost felt dirty. I don't know why, but that's just how it was at the beginning. And I think the more I did it, going out there and getting on social media and just putting myself out there, that was a huge obstacle for me at the beginning. Is it 100% comfortable now? No, not at all, but it's not as painful as it was at the beginning. I mean, when I go back and I look at my older stuff sometimes, I mean, there was some cringeworthy stuff that I put at the beginning, but you know what I mean? Like over time you just get better and you can't master it if you're not going to put in the work, right? So we're always learning and growing and just doing the best we can and trying not to because I consider myself a recovering people pleaser. So I think a lot of times it's like we don't want to not be accepted. We want people to be happy with what we're doing and just realizing that we can't always please everybody. You know what I mean? You just do what
Yeah,
you can. The people that truly love and know you will always support you, lift you up and be there for you regardless of what you do, win or fail. So those
yeah,
those are the ones you want. That's your
yeah.
pack. Yeah.
Well, I love that. And, I don't know if you know this, but I really look up to you because I am an introvert as well. And I see you out on social media with your reels and, your YouTubes and just everything. And I'm like, wow, like you put yourself out there and it seems like it's just like easy, smooth sailing for you. I know you and have met you a few times. And so I know that it's not, but you make it seem like flawless. So
Oh,
I would
thank
love
you.
to get to that point one day,
You
even
will.
just like this
Yeah.
podcast. And I mean, this is all new and different. And me being an introvert, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do this. But here we are and
Oh, that makes me happy.
taking
Yeah.
action
Yeah.
and we'll look 5 years from now and be like, hey, look at our very
We
first
did
interview
it.
and our
Yes.
podcast and where we are now. So
Yes.
I love
Yes.
that.
No. Oh, that makes me happy. And I do want to encourage other people to do it. I mean, it's not as painful as we try to make ourselves think in our head. We all those doubts, we all have them. It's just overcoming them and ignoring them and doing it regardless. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, just a few more questions here. One thing, what is some advice that you would give to someone, people that are just starting out in real estate? Yeah, I guess let's just start there.
Yeah, it all goes back to the networking. I mean, we touched on it a little bit, right? Um, Try to talk to as many people as humanly possible. Tell everybody what you're doing. I think when I first started in real estate, um, going back to that mindset, right? Like I didn't want people to know what we were doing. I didn't want people to know that we spent so much money on this thing and gosh, heaven forbid we don't get a deal and now we look like I can't believe we spent this much money and, all these things that you start, these self doubts, right?
Hmm.
Ignore that. Just push through, keep going. This is definitely, I mean, you'll hear it time and time again that it's a numbers game, and it really truly is. I mean, if you really think about it in the grand scheme of things, what is it, like 5% of those homeowners out there are really the ones that are going to work with us. You're going to have to deal with rejection. And I think that was a huge thing for me because I want to make people happy. I want to create win-wins. And when you realize that a lot of times you're going to get no's more often than a yes, um, I almost got to the point because I would get frustrated. I could see my emotion just kind of like my being just kind of being drained after a while, right? Be okay with taking time for yourself. Like as women, we're givers. So take time, listen to your body. It's okay to give yourself a day or two and just re-energize. Like give yourself permission to do that. That's so incredibly important. And just work on your mindset. That's going to really help you get around people, like make friends with people that are in the industry because they truly will know what you're going through. The struggle is real. It is a hustle. It's a consistent grind. And like you said, no one's going to know. No one's going to know unless they're actually in the thick of it doing it with you.
Yeah,
So, yeah, create your
awesome.
squad.
I love that. Well, let's see. Tell me about, because I know that you recently joined a team. I want to know, what are you up to now? What's Carolina doing?
Yeah, so I was doing it with my husband. I feel like I was wearing quite a few hats and also being mom of three, like something had to give, right? So now, as of just this last week, I joined a team, so I get to help with the disposition side. So I get to help, when we have deals and we need a buyer, I get to go hunt for the buyers and, just create a win that way. So I'm really excited about that. I'm excited to learn more about. They're doing a lot more creative stuff than I have even heard. So I'm really excited to just learn more because we're forever students. Like nobody knows everything, no matter
Yeah.
what level you're at. So I'm super pumped to learn all these things and also share what I learn with our local community. And yeah. So I'm really, really excited. So if anybody does want to get added to our buyers list, my Instagram is down here, Carolina Allen, and let me know. I'd love to add you to my preferred buyers list.
Awesome. I love that. Cool. Well, I'm excited for you and, to hear about as you continue with your team, how it's going and new stories and, can't wait to catch up with you at the next meetup.
Ah.
So let's just, finish off by Pace's traditional questions, like what do you have and what do you need? How can people help you?
Wow. So what do I have? I absolutely love helping new students get their first or next deal done. So if you need help with a warm lead, like you've already talked to this person, and honestly, most of my deals have been direct to seller. I have done a few with agents, but I love talking to homeowners. I think that's my favorite avatar, to be honest with you. So if you have anything that you need help with or you need help underwriting, I would much rather you reach out and get a second set of eyes than getting into a deal feel that that's just going to be a big headache, from the beginning to the end. So feel free to reach out. Love squatting up. And then what do I need? I need more leads. I need more buyers on our buyers list. So, deals are coming down the pipeline. I wanna do deals with people. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, you heard it, guys. If you are a buyer, find Carolina on Instagram with their handle down there and get added. I love that. And is Instagram the best way to find you, or how do people connect with you?
Yeah, yeah. Check me out on Instagram. And then I also forgot to mention that I do biweekly in-person call sessions. So if you're out here in Oregon, Washington County area, look me up. We do Deal Maker Squad call sessions to kind of help new people that are wanting to get in the business, but not quite sure how to get on the phone and look for leads. So I would love to be a resource for you. So come on out, absolutely free. So yeah, come join us.
Awesome. Love that. I need to make it to one. You're about
I
an
would love
hour,
that.
hour and
I
something
know.
from me, but I'm
You,
determined. I'm gonna
girl, you
make it
need
to
to
one.
create your own if you're that
I
far
know.
away. See,
Yeah.
start dominating. I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for taking the time. This has been awesome, and I'm happy to chat with you and happy to have everyone learn about what you're doing and where you're at. And yeah, I'll chat with you
Absolutely.
soon.
Thank you for having me.